awarded approximately $3.2 million with an estimated 263 trainees. And we've met some of you in preparation of your budgets. And currently your contracts are in the final stages of sign off. Your contract length is from June 1st, 2024 to November 30th, 2025. So these are 18-month grants. Each month, you're going to be expected to complete activity and expenditure reports in IGX. So today we're going to go through a presentation on how to initiate and complete these reports in IGX. The session is being recorded and you'll be sent a copy along with the slides following this meeting. We do ask that you keep your microphones turned off and hold any questions until the end of the presentation. Okay. Bill, do you have anything you wanted to add?
Nope.
Okay. All right, we'll get started. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Those presentations on the NJ Build Women and Minorities in Construction Activity and Expenditure Reports in IGX. Activity and expenditure reports. As part of the administration of your grant, your organization will be required to complete monthly activity and expenditure reports. These reports are due on the 15th of every month and to reflect activity and expenses for the prior month. The following presentation will assist you in completing these steps.
Just so that we can emphasize the point, though, make sure that you are on top of getting these reports completed and submitted by the 15th of the month. Be aware that, you know, it's something that reflects badly on your overall performance of the grant if you're not getting these reports completed and submitted timely. Ultimately, if you run into issues with the system or you need additional time, it's always allowed to ask for that additional time. But if you're just not asking and not submitting those reports, it will reflect badly on your overall performance on the grant. So I would suggest that you keep in contact with Melinda and Jessica and make sure they're aware if you're running into issues, and make sure they're aware if you're going to be late with a report with those deadlines, because at the end of the day, those reports run into each other if it takes you longer to get them submitted. You know, you can't start next month's report until it's been reviewed and the previous month's report's been reviewed and approved. So always try to stick to that timeline to where you can get those reports submitted by the 15th of the month. You technically are given 2 weeks within a 4-week period to prepare them, because, you know, they open on the 1st of the month so that you can start them, and they're not due till the 15th. So it's a fair timeline ultimately, because it's all of what you're reporting is for services that were provided the previous month. So please try to stay on top of that so that you don't have or run into additional issues.
All right, thank you, Bill. All right, so the slide here just shows you the IGX welcome screen where you would log in, you'd enter your login credentials. The link is at the top of the page.
For those of you who haven't registered, there may be a situation where you have staff that aren't registered in the database that need to get registered. There's a new user registration at the bottom of that registration where you register, and they can register the same way you registered when you were applying for the grant or have registered in the past. So if you have staff that need to register in the database, you need to complete the new user registration, and you need to email Jessica or Melinda. What email address are you guys using? Maybe you can put it in the chat, Melinda, so that they can know who to reach out to, because you need to email them so they know to look for your registration to give it to you. There is a process for you to be able to do it yourself as the authorized officials for your organization as well, and there should be instructions that are, not sure if they're in this document, but we could provide them to you if you need them.
Okay, thank you. So locating your application to start reports. If your contract has been signed and approved, you're going to follow the next steps to your grant application. In this case, for all of our grantees in this meeting, the contract has not been, finalized. That should be happening in the next couple of weeks. So if your contract has not been signed and approved, we're going to skip to the next slide for steps for accessing your grant application. However, you still have this information to refer back to once the contract has been finalized.
I believe at this point, none of your contracts have been signed off on by our commissioners. They've been signed off on, I think, by just the organization. So you'll have to follow these instructions currently in order to find them.
Okay, so searching for the application when your contract is in process. While your grant application is going through the process of contracting, you'll need to access the application and reports differently until those actions are complete. By clicking the searches button on the blue banner, and you would click My Documents. On the document search page under Type, you're going to select Women and Minorities in Construction FY24 Round 2 and click Search. A document section will appear in the search results. You're going to select the Build WMC FY2024 R2 hyperlink.
And if you are running into any issues where you're unable to find your grant, please just go ahead and send me an email, or you can send it to the email sent in the chat, and I can send you a link that will take you directly to the page.
Okay, for reporting, to access and start your report, you're going to use the navigation page on the left side of the page to scroll to the section titled Related Documents. You're going to click the Initiate Related Documents button. If the button is not available when you first go here, you may need to click the arrow next to Related Documents to expand the contents of that section. The Activity Report. Under Available Documents, use the drop-down menu to locate and select the Activity Report for the reporting month and click Create. As a reminder, you should be completing reports for the month prior. So for example, in July, you should be completing the June Activity Report. And you want to ensure that you're selecting Women and Minority in Construction Round 2 reports only. Agreement page. You're going to click Agree once you're ready to start the activity report. If you're not ready, then select Decline. For page navigation. The page navigation is similar to that of the application. After you enter information on a particular page and save, use the navigation panel on the left side of the page to move to the next desired page. Please note, once a report is initiated, it will remain in your My Tasks section of your Home tab until the report is submitted. After you submit the agreement, you'll be brought to the document landing page. The pages of the report that need to be completed will be listed on the left navigation panel under Activity Report. You're going to start by clicking Participant List. And please note, you can skip around to other sections of the report if needed.
Also, if you haven't added any participants to your program yet, so if in the first month or the first couple of months there aren't any participants, do not save the participant list page. Ultimately, it automatically creates other pages and causes issues if you do that. So you can just, if you don't have participants and you don't have quality partners or any information to enter for a month on specific on any of these specific pages, you can skip right to your dashboard page and complete the dashboard page.
Thank you. For the participant list. you are going to want to make sure to label the page that's noted at the top here. You're going to complete the information requested in each field. For date of birth, type in the date or click on the calendar headers and arrows to navigate to the month and year. A unique ID number will be assigned by the system when you click Save. All fields are mandatory except for the AOSOS field for all participants listed. So to add more participants, you're going to use the plus sign. Repeat as many times as needed. There is an add button at the top of the screen. This will create brand new pages to help organize your participants by training cycle, cohort, etc. If multiple pages are created, an arrow will appear on the left navigation panel for the page, so you can navigate to the desired page.
Please don't create a new page for every participant. It does cause issues on occasion with the database. It confuses the database because it's looking for you to have multiple people on a page, but you have multiple pages with one person on them. So if you can group them in some way, whether it be by training cycle, whether it be by cohort, whether it be by employer, if you have a specific employer that you're training them for, or a specific occupation that you're training them for, whatever way you want to group them, that's fine. And you should name the page that whatever you're using for that grouping. But at the end of the day, try to have most of your participants on a fewer number of pages. It makes it easier for us to help you with things when you run into issues as well. Because what'll happen is you'll say, I'm having a problem with Bill Sarbuck's information not working, and we've got to find Bill Sarbuck on 25 pages. You know, if we can find them on one of 5 pages, it's easier. Just makes it faster, and it will help to speed things up for yourselves. So just a word of advice.
Correct. And this is also a way to ensure no unintentional duplication, accidental
Correct.
duplication. Once you finish adding all your participants, be sure to click Save in the upper right-hand corner.
Yeah, I would actually suggest to save periodically through adding people so that you don't somehow lose anybody at any points. Just like anything else, save periodically.
Thank you. Quality partner. You're going to use this page to log quality partnerships. Quality partners are employers, non-apprenticeship, and registered apprenticeships, either union or non-union. To add more partners, again, you're going to use the plus sign. Repeat as many times as needed. There is an add button at the top that will create brand new pages to help you organize your partnerships if needed. If multiple pages are created, an arrow will appear on the left navigation pane for the page, so you can navigate to the desired page. All right, partners must be added to this page for information to be populated on subsequent pages. Similar to what we discussed before, adding multiple pages is not necessary, and you want to keep in mind how you group the information.
Yeah, especially for this page. There really is never a time when you should need more than one quality partner page. I think it allows for up to 20 partners on a page, if not more. So you may have more than 20 partners, but it's probably highly unlikely that you have more than 20 partners. Beyond that, also keep in mind, you can have quality partners even before you have participants, because you want to make sure you keep this up to date and get all of this information from your partners. And sometimes you don't necessarily have it right away, so you got to get it. So I would try and get it up front as soon as you can with any of your partners, whether they're employers or training provider, whatever the outcomes are, because the quality partner types on the left will tell you what kinds of partners you should be having.
Right. Thank you. And again, a reminder to periodically save using the Save button in the upper right-hand corner. For quality employer or apprenticeship, the quality employer or apprenticeship pages will automatically be created based on the names you added to your participant list. To navigate to a specific page, click the arrow next to Quality Employer or Apprenticeship and select the name of the participant whose information you wish to view. Further steps for this page are on the following slide. Actually, did I lose the slide here? All right, stipend recipients. For any participant who's received a stipend for the month, add that information to this page. To add more participants, you're going to use the plus sign to populate a new row. Repeat as many times as needed. Note that the participant names dropdown pulls from the participant list. If you're missing a name from the dropdown menu, revisit the participant list and add that person. Data entered in previous months will populate the stipend recipient page, and any previously provided stipend information will show up in cumulative cost. You will only list the participant once on this page. When finished adding stipend recipients, be sure to click Save.
Just know that this page, although it's in your activity report, should match your expenditure report for your stipends that you're billing, both for the month, which would be that total on the right-hand side that you see there, where you see the 0, and cumulatively for the year to date, which is the other 0 to the left of that. It should equal out to what's on the expenditure report every month. And if it doesn't, it'll get sent back to you for review and correction. So make sure that they match. You should be doing these activity and expenditure reports in cohesion, not separately. We do have a lot of organizations that do them to have different people that are working on them, but you should be working together to ensure that the reports speak to each other in some capacity, because they do review the activity and expenditure reports together when they get submitted.
Correct. Thank you. And right, and they will not, the expenditure reports will not be processed without the activity reports being completed. Quality Employer or Apprenticeship. You're going to review each page and enter any applicable information for the month. Initially, you might only be adding the program enrollment date and participant progress. Once a participant finishes the program and receives a placement outcome, the remainder of the pages should be completed to capture that information. And please note that information populates based on data supplied on the previous 2 pages, which is the participant list and quality partner. If you need to add additional information, please visit the affiliated page to update. When finished, you're going to click Save, then navigate to the next participant to update. Repeat until all participants have been updated.
So as she said, just for clarification purposes, each section has a reason and a meaning, and so your initial section is just going to be providing details on the participant, starting and ending the program. You should only enter an exit reason if they have stopped coming to your program and they're no longer a participant. That is basically going to make them an unsuccessful participant. And it will complete them from the program if you enter an exit reason. It doesn't mean that you should never enter exit reasons. You should absolutely enter exit reasons for people you don't expect to come back to your program. If the program completion date is entered, it means that the participant has completed the program. So don't enter your enrollment and completion date right up front. You should only be entering your enrollment date initially. Completion date is only entered once they've completed the program. So if somebody starts today and they finish the training, then you would enter a completion date. The retention 30 and 60 days is retention in employment or in an outcome. So you would then enter your quality outcome on that second section, and the retention would show that they've been at that outcome for 30 days or 60 days. That's when you'd enter those days. The credential information could be entered throughout, because in the trainings they might receive OSHA certifications or other certifications. You'll enter those certifications and credentials as they're received. And then the valuable documents at the bottom are going to be anything from driver's licenses to identification to things like that. You want to make sure you provide that kind of information because it'll show success that you've had with participants, and give some idea of benefit that the participants have received from your program. So make sure these pages are updated monthly. But as Jessica said, initially, you may only be entering in the participants' progress and their enrollment date. The rest of the information will be added as time moves forward and you have some additional information to provide on your participants. It is helpful that these pages get automatically created by the database. Sometimes there's issues that arise with that, with things duplicating and stuff like that. Reach out and let us know through the email address that I think Melinda put in the chat, and we can help and assist with any of those issues that come up.
Okay. Yes, and of note, as you're entering credentials, there is a plus sign, so you can enter more than one credential. You can enter more than one value document as you go along.
You can only enter one quality outcome though, so if you have multiple outcomes that somebody receives, you may want to think about what is the most beneficial outcome for that participant. Usually employment is the best. It should be employment though in an industry specific to construction. It has to be an industry specific construction. If they get a job working at Wawa, that doesn't count as a quality outcome because ultimately the training wasn't in customer service. The training was in, or gas attendant, the training was in construction. So it has to be specific to the training that you're providing.
All right, thank you. Dashboard. Please complete the fields indicated on this page. Those are the fields that are circled in red or in the red writing. You're going to provide explanations and comments to account for changes as well as information and updates about each training cycle. This section pulls the information supplied from previous pages. If information is incorrect, please revisit the appropriate section and make your edits. So it's a little tiny on the screen here, but there's information that comes in from the other pages, and you're going to provide commentary to discuss the outcomes as they go in terms of number of enrolled, number of withdrawals.
I
Number
like
of
that way of
participants
putting it,
receiving
commentary. It's way better than what I would normally say. I would normally just say, just provide comments. Commentary makes it sound like a television show. It's good. It's fun. It's entertaining. It makes these reports much more fun.
Yes. All right. Be sure again to click save when you're finished. Bill, this is probably another section where you're also saving periodically if you're entering
Yeah,
a lot
and
of
some of this
information.
data pulls in from other places. So if you notice that something is missing, you should reach out to us and let us know. It should be working fairly good because we've been using them for a little while and they're not new. But on occasion, something that you did or something that the database did will make maybe a participant not pull into your cycle, because these numbers automatically populate for the most part. We're really just asking you for commentary, as Jessica said, specific to these sections, and detail that you can provide specific to these sections. So like the start and end dates for cohorts. In this section, you can provide the end date, expected end date for your program when the cohorts start. So you don't have to wait until it's ended to enter an end date on this dashboard. That'll help us to understand where your participants should be in time. So if they start, if your program is a 3-month program and they started today, you should have your end date in there as 3 months from now, so that we can track whether or not those participants are showing up as completers or non-completers below. Because at the end of the day, if they're not showing up down there, then you're probably not entering your data correctly, and it helps us to help you get that data entered properly. So provide as much detail as you can on this page. This page is the only page I would say that sometimes you're going to provide details for the future rather than the other pages where, like I said, you want to enter them as things occur rather than entering them ahead of time.
Right, and I actually have one more tip if we go back to previous page. With regards to program completion date, for this section, and Bill, if I'm incorrect, please correct me, you do not want to enter a future date here.
Correct, yes, yeah, that's
Okay, because then that will identify the individual as having completed the program when they have not.
It'll actually confuse the system. So what the system will do is it won't enter them as a completer, but it'll be confused. It'll not quite understand why you have a completion date in the future. Maybe it's the terminology and the way we have it termed here, but ultimately it's meant to allow us to capture data rather than you to just provide it. So at the end of the day, like we said, this page should be always filled out with data as of today. What you can provide me that's happened today should be on this page. And then on the dashboard, you can put the end dates for your training programs because the participants, you're going to put in the comments section, participants are performing well, they've worked on this and that, they're doing this training right now, and then they'll work on that training next time. I'm obviously simplifying this. I apologize for that, but I don't have the terminology to be able to say it more eloquently. But at the end of the day, your comments will provide all the details on where they're at and how well they're doing moving forward in the time frame for their cycle. I'm not going to be able to stop saying commentary now. I'm going to say it for everything.
All right, error check. Before submitting the report, it's a good idea to check for any errors. To do so, you're going to use the left navigation panel to scroll to the Tools section, then click Document Validation. This will review the entire report for any errors. If errors are found, the page will be listed in the results. Please visit the page indicated to make the corrections.
Yeah, we're a preventative group around here at the Department of Labor. We told you to do this in your applications too, so you probably remember it a little bit. But at the end of the day, it's always best to check and make sure that you don't see any errors populating on any of the pages. The system will make you fix them whether you like it or not, because it won't let you submit them with errors on them. But at the end of the day, it's always best to do this validation. It helps you to best understand, especially initially when you're first filling out these reports. Once you get really comfortable with them, you might get to a point where you don't need to validate because you understand exactly what's missing and not missing. But it is always helpful to use this validation on a monthly basis to before you go to change the status and submit your reports.
I'm sorry. Report submission. After you add and save all the information to the activity report for the month, the last step will be to submit the report. To do so, using the left navigation panel, scroll to the section titled Status Options and click the Activity Report Submitted option. This will prompt an agreement page. Click OK to send the report. Clicking Cancel will bring you back to the report for editing. You're also going to want to enter any notes about the status change if you choose to. All right, the next report is the expenditure report. Once the activity report is completed, you also need to complete an expenditure report for the same month. Hold on, someone's joining. So you're going to complete an expenditure report for the same month as the activity report, even if your expenses are zero for the month. You can start an expenditure report from within your application, following the same steps as you did for the activity report, slides 4 through 6 on this presentation. Or you can start it from within the activity report. Either way, you will use the left navigation panel to find the section titled Related Documents and click Initiate Related Document. Under Available Documents, use the drop-down menu to locate and select the expenditure report for the reporting month and click Create. And this is another reminder that you're going to be completing reports for the month prior. And
yeah, that tip is really important, everybody, because a lot of times people accidentally choose the wrong reports. So just think about where you are in time. If you're in June, you should only be opening a May report. If you're in July, you should only be opening a June report. And it should be the month and the year that you're in. So if it's June 2024, you should be opening a May 2024 report. Now, if it's January 2025, please remember it's a December 2024 report you're opening. Okay, I get that sometimes those things don't necessarily jump out to us, but those are the things that I always say. Think about where you're at in time right now, and then go back 1 month, and that's when you should be. That's the report you should be starting.
agreement page. Click Agree once you're ready to start the expenditure report. If you're not ready, select Decline. After you submit the agreement, you'll be brought to the document landing page. The pages of the report that need to be completed will be listed on the left navigation panel under Expenditures. Start by clicking NJ Build Expenditure Report. And note, you can skip around to other sections of the report if needed. The steps outlined in slide 9 can also be followed to re-access the expenditure report if you exit prior to completion and submittal and status change. Expenditure report page. Enter any expenses for the listed line items. Only the current expenses column can be entered. If you have no expenses to submit, save the page with 0 for the current expenses column. When finished, click Save at the top of the page.
This question comes up pretty much every time we do one of these presentations, so just know if you don't have any expenses, you do still need to submit a report. The same with your activity reports. If you don't have any activity to submit, you still need to go in, do that dashboard page, and submit them on a monthly basis. Just a quick little tidbit of information about, and that always, those questions always come up. So
Miscellaneous attachments page. If you have any supporting documentation that you'd like to include with your report, please supply those attachments here. Please note this page is not mandatory. For this, you can add more attachments by using the plus sign. Repeat as many times as needed. The Add button at the top will create brand new pages when needed. If multiple pages are created, an arrow will appear on the left navigation panel for the page so that you can navigate to the desired page. And you're going to click Save when finished. Payment voucher page. Please review this page for accuracy and check the Payee Declarations box to confirm your billing. When finished, click Save. You want to make sure the amounts are equal to what you've provided in your expenditure report. After saving this page, you can also run an error check before submitting to make sure all items are complete. The process is the same as the activity report. You're going to locate the Tools section and click Document Validation. If errors appear, please visit the page indicated to make the correction.
and when we say check it, we mean click in that box under pay declarations. I know sometimes we say the word check and we just mean to actually look at something and verify, but in this case, we actually mean to physically check that box under pay declarations. That's highlighted with the arrow.
Submitting the expenditure report. After you add and save all information to the expenditure report for the month, the last step will be to submit the report. To do so, using the left navigation pane, scroll to the section titled Status Options, then click the Expenditure Report Submitted Review Required option. This will prompt an agreement page. Click OK to send the report. Clicking cancel will bring you back to the report for editing. And again, feel free to enter any notes about the status change if desired.
Just as was the case with your applications, once you click OK and this gets submitted to us, it will no longer show up in your My Tasks bin of your dashboard when you log into the database, mainly because that means there's nothing you need to do more work with that. It'll actually start showing up in our task bins so that we can then review and approve them and move them forward for payment and approval.
Right, so once both reports are submitted for the month, you're finished.
Woohoo!
Yay!
Yeah. We don't have any confetti that flies or anything like that in the database when you get to that point, unfortunately. That would be fun, but you are finished and you can prepare yourself for doing it again next month for 18 straight whole months. But it's a good thing. It means that we've got services being provided and people receiving what they need and programs that are available that may not be available without the funding that is here. So it may seem like a pain, but at the end you'll get good at it, I promise. You'll start trying to recreate it for your personal finances. I'm lying. You're not really going to do that, I hope.
All right, so at this time, we can open it up to questions. Anyone have any questions?
Just for clarification, for those of you who may have had technical issues or joined a little late or anything like that, this presentation was recorded. Obviously, all the slides will be provided to you so that you can walk through the processes yourself, and you could also look back and watch the video once it's recorded, once the recording is complete here on our side, and watch it yourself or share it with other staff that maybe weren't able to attend today.
How do you get that?
I think you're trying to talk, Deb, but we didn't hear you very well. Now you're muted if you're talking.
I'm. You hear me?
It's really skipping around. You
Okay.
might be better off typing in the chat, Deb. Type it in the chat, your question. That way we can make sure we get you an answer. In the chat, Julia Ochoa, Jessica asked how we can provide access to staff. You want to take that or you want me to take that? It's up to you.
If you wouldn't mind taking it, because I know
No.
we discussed it at the beginning.
Mm-hmm. So there's two ways. If staff need access, they would register as a new user. So when you go to the login page for IGX, under the login section, there's a new user tab. They would click that, register as a new user, and then they'd have to email the njbuildprograms@dol.nj.gov email address that's in the chat right now, and let them know that somebody has registered. And then either Jessica or Melinda can go in, approve that user, and add them to the application, because we'd have to add them to the application in order for them to be a part of it at that point. Or there are instructions that were provided you for filling out the application, and within those instructions we did provide you with how you can add staff to your own organizations. Yep, that's the new user, Melinda. Thank you for putting it on there. So you can refer back to the user guide that was provided to you for your application, and it provided you with instructions on how to add staff in that to your organization. You're welcome. Any other questions?
Yes.
Are you typing it in the chat, Deb?
Yes.
Okay. So Debbie, Jessica asks, the contract started June, did it start June 1st or June 1st, right?
Yes.
June 1st.
So then she's asking if their first reports are due on July 15th.
Yes.
Yep, so you would start a June report, starting July 1st. You can't start it until July 1st, but on July 1st, you would open it, complete it, and then submit it by July 15th.
Okay. Were there any other questions?
The presentation was so thorough and wonderful that nobody has any questions. The questions will come up as they start opening these reports and start completing them. That's how it works. And that's
Yeah.
normal. Don't be surprised if that happens in any of your cases. Obviously, that's what we're here for. So if you guys have any questions or need anything, email us and we'll get back to you.
Okay,
Deb,
so
we'll email out to you guys all the presentation along with the slides. Probably in the next day or two. It all depends on how long it takes for. We send to marketing this recording so that they can post it to our YouTube page. So sometimes it takes 24 hours for them to do that. But it should be done fairly quickly, and then they'll send it out to you guys.
Ah, shit. Damn it. Okay, I'm sorry.
So Debbie, you're asking if a company agrees to hire a trainee from the beginning, how do you report that?
Right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, what's happening if I have a company I have maybe gotten a relationship with and we design some where they are committing to hire the training period of the program? How do I write that as a placement at the end of the training or in the beginning?
Are you saying if they are hired before they've completed any training?
Let's say this, me and Joe.
I'm sorry, we're
You can't
not hearing you in total.
Usually, Deb, just so
hear
you
me
know,
now?
yeah, usually, Deb, just so you know, you would want to report on outcomes after the training has been provided to show the benefit of the training. So I would say it would most likely make sense to do it that way. I'm not saying you can't put the outcome in earlier, but at the end of the day, completion of the training is just as important as the outcome for the participants because they have to correlate. They have to make sense. You know, program has to make sense. The benefit of your training has to make sense. You know what I mean? Because at the end of your training is going to give them certifications that are going to help them in those jobs. Obviously, experience and knowledge that's going to help them at those jobs. So you would want to, have them complete the training and then show the outcome. Because if somebody got an outcome, but they didn't complete the training, it would possibly look like that person could have gotten that job without your training. You know what I mean? So you want to make sure
Okay.
that they correlate in that way. But I think you can have
Okay.
those side
All right.
conversations with Melinda and Jessica, maybe through a side phone call, if you have a situation where it occurs with any specific participants.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Debbie, if you were asking another question, it's not coming through.
I'm good.
You're good. Okay. All right, thank you.
Mhm.
So if there aren't any other questions, we thank you for your time today.
Good luck with everything, everybody. It was nice seeing some faces that I haven't seen in a little while. Good. Take care, everybody.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
And Melinda, you can stop the recording.
Thank